I just don't want it to sound like you're farting in it.
Then the Becky Lynch and Drew Drop. God, I hate that name. Drew Drop. God. And he's just like, hey. Welcome everyone to episode 7 of the Knick Knax 90's podcast.
No, it's 8. 7?
7.
7?
Yeah, it's 7.
My bad.
Episode 7 of the Knick Knax 90's podcast. I'm your host, Brad. This is my co-host, Vicky. And today we're going to be bringing you our top 5 favorite TV shows from the 1990s.
Yeah.
Because, in my opinion, golden age of cartoons and television for kids.
Yes.
I mean, almost every show. Like, we could make a list of TV shows from the 90s that is like 100 long.
Oh, at least. Yeah,
like,
it was hard picking just 5 for this video.
Yeah, like it came down to a lot of put-ins, takeouts, you know.
Yeah, erasing,
yeah. So, you want to go first?
Sure. So my number 5 pick is Are You Afraid of the Dark? It came out in 1990. It ran for 7 seasons. And my most favorite episode, 5-part episode I believe it was Tale of the Silver Sight.
I would have to agree with you. I definitely loved that episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark as a kid.
Yeah.
It was cool to see the kids that actually told the stories.
Become part of the story.
And the
child that they used as the villain for that specific...
Terrifying.
Yeah. Absolutely terrifying.
And was it Canadian?
I believe it was.
Canadian show. I used to watch it on the Family Channel, Disney Channel for Canadians essentially.
Yeah.
My number 5 is a show that's actually still going to this day. Debuted in 1996. It has 25 seasons strong, and for me that is Arthur. I loved Arthur as a kid. I couldn't pinpoint a favorite episode of Arthur because in every episode there's always 2 episodes, and when I was a kid, the first 3 seasons of Arthur were my
bread and butter.
And butter, baby. Loved it. Yeah. Anyway.
So my number 4 pick is Pinky and the Brain, a classic one that came out in 95 and ran for 4 seasons.
Yeah, I watched that a little bit as a kid too.
I didn't care for when they introduced Larry so much, but, we have room. There's room for Larry, and the reasons behind it kind of are funny. Essentially, it was because I believe the network was like, you need to add another character. The show's getting boring, so they were like, oh, really? Yeah. Pinky and the Brain are pulling this thing. Here's Larry.
Yeah. I mean, they got a new show today.
Yeah.
They eventually came back.
Wow. A reboot.
So, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things are getting a reboot nowadays.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your number 4?
Anyway, my number 4 is Batman the Animated Series. It came out in 1992 and ran for 4 seasons. In my opinion, the best Batman.
Yeah.
I loved Batman the Animated Series. Luke Skywalker plays the Joker, Mark Hamill there, and eventually went on to play the Joker in video games and other Batman movies and stuff too. It's just a great
it was. I remember watching it. When I babysat these 2 boys, I'd ask them, hey, what do you want to watch before bedtime? And they'd be like, Batman the Animated Series, and I was like, yes. It was the easiest job.
Yeah, it was a good show. I just love how we got an actual it was made for adults. It was made for kids, but made for adults too. You can still watch that show today, and it holds up. I love Batman the Animated Series.
Nice. So my number 3 pick is Goosebumps. It came out in 1995. It ran for 4 seasons, and I believe...
Is it Canadian as well?
I'd have to check, but...
I'm pretty sure, because Ryan Gosling was on it back in the day, and he was a big Canadian actor as a kid.
My favorite episode would probably be a toss-up between The Haunted Mask or Night of the Living Dummy.
Yeah?
Yeah, Slappy. Oh, man. He terrified me. as a kid.
Yeah.
Your number 3?
My number 3 is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which came out in 93 and ran for 3 seasons. The Mighty Morphin version of Power Rangers, as we all know, Power Rangers is still running today. There are many other versions of Power Rangers out there.
Yes.
I mean, the only one I watched after Mighty Morphin was Turbo, so I kind of got off Power Rangers after that, but I loved Mighty Morphin as a kid. This may sound cliche, but my favorite episodes are the 2-parters, maybe 3-parters, not too sure, can't remember, when they introduced the Green Ranger. I love Tommy and the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
And my favorite was the Red Ranger as a kid, but my favorite episode is when they introduced the Green Ranger, because he had his own Zord, he had the Dragon Zord, and he played the flute, and all
around cool dude.
I love Mighty Morphin.
So we both have the same pick for number 2.
Yeah, we do, actually. Boy Meets World. It ran for 7 seasons and started airing in 1993. Love Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
My favorite Boy Meets World episode is definitely the episode with Vader, the wrestling episode from, I want to say, season 4? Season 5? They were still in high school. I love that episode. It is so great. Vader's WWE champion in it, and he shows... he's Frankie's dad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, Frankie, you want to see my new move? It's called the Vader Salt."
Jeez. I remember.
And he did it and then started doing it. So, like, I love that episode of Boy Meets World.
I probably couldn't pick a favorite episode, per se, because it stole my heart, the entire series. I love it.
That was
through.
I said that about Arthur, but it is the same with Batman, the animated series, as well. Like, I couldn't tell you a favorite episode. I love that.
Yeah,
I just loved it.
It's so good. It was really well done.
And then, do you want to get into some of our honorable mentions?
Yes.
For this one. So, Cow and Chicken, sorry. Aired in 1997 for 3 seasons. I didn't watch much Cow and Chicken. This was more of Vicky's pick, for sure.
I did, and
I've seen it. I'm not, gonna say I never have, but...
It was a very interesting show, for sure. Definitely not meant for kids.
There was a few shows like that.
Yes, and I'd have to give a shout-out, I think, to the Red Guy, quote. He was the most unique character on that show, aside from... I believe there was a short in it called I Am Weasel and I Are Baboon.
They really like to draw his butt.
Yes. Yeah. That was the funny part, though, as a kid, I found.
Never fly today, but in the 90s, it was a different time.
Oh, yes, definitely. So our number 4 honorable mention is Magic School Bus. 1994, ran for 4 seasons.
I mean, what is there
the original one ran for 4.
The original. Yeah. What is there to say about Magic School Bus?
Teaches you everything.
I mean, I know more stuff from Magic School Bus than I probably learned in school.
More than likely myself too, yeah.
Like, Magic School Bus was a good combination of educational for kids and just a great overall show.
Yes.
Like, it was just cool, some of the stuff they did. My favorite episode is when they go into Ralphie because he's sick and they got to figure out why he's sick. And when I was a kid, I thought it was cool to see what the inside of our bodies looked like.
Yeah.
I don't know, I was a weird kid.
No, it was an amazing show.
Yeah, so... Definitely like that one. Number 3, X-Men the Animated Series, came out in 92, aired for 5 seasons. I mean, again, what is there to say about X-Men the Animated Series? Paved the way for that, and Batman the Animated Series paved the way for a lot of superhero shows that would come out in the 90s later.
Yeah.
And
number 2,
a gem in my opinion. Mighty Ducks, baby, the animated series, came out in 96 and it aired for 2 very short seasons, but oh man, I love the Mighty Ducks. Like, I love this theme song. Like,
yes,
it was just,
he sings it often around the house.
Yeah, I do. So, like, you know, like,
special place in your heart, eh?
It really does. Like, they had the jersey, they drew like the jerseys that they would wear in the NHL too. So, I thought that was cool. And, like, just a hilarious, weird concept looking back, but God, I loved it when I was a kid.
So our number one honorable mention is Cat Dog from 1998. It ran for 4 seasons. It was a good show.
A very different show, like Cow and Chicken, but it was neat how they were attached, kind of like Siamese twins.
Yeah, the number one question, burning question in my mind as a child, always wondered it every episode, every time I saw them. How do they poop?
Yeah, like I never thought of that as a kid, but thinking about it now, that's funny.
I was very concerned, but hey, they lived, they thrived, they survived, so we're living for it. So let's go to our number one picks. Do you want to go first?
I can. My number one pick, I mean, if it's not obvious, is Spider-Man the Animated Series. Came out in 94, aired for 5 seasons. I loved Spider-Man in the animated series. It was a great, great, great show. The original Into the Spider-Verse in, I want to say season 5. God, my favorite episode is definitely the Venom and Carnage episode. No shocker there. Mm-hmm. It is, there's so many, like, concepts from that show that, like, I feel like the MCU takes from now in their Spider-Man movies, and, like, really put Venom, Venom was on the map, but I feel put Venom on the map, made him a little more mainstream.
Yeah.
And the Lizard, the very first episode with the Lizard, we just get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I loved Spider-Man. Your turn, Vicky. Sorry.
No, all good. I love the passion. My number one pick is Courage the Cowardly Dog. It ran for 4 seasons and came out in 1999, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, no surprise there. When I met Vicky, she had a Courage the Cowardly Dog keychain. Lanyard thing. Yeah. So
my favorite part about it was the art style, especially. The way they drew it, the animation for it, the different techniques they would intertwine into it. It blew me away. It scared me.
She can draw courage, like, spot on. It's like, it's
I
amazing.
watched it a lot.
It's amazing.
I loved that. I loved it. My favorite episode would probably have to be Freaky Fred.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's so freaky.
Again, like, Cow and Chicken, like, I've seen Courage the Cowardly Dog. I did not watch it religiously.
Yeah.
I would say out of Courage the Cowardly Dog, Cow and Chicken, and Cat Dog, I watched Cat Dog the most.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But definitely saw Courage the Cowardly Dog on Teletoon back in the day. I don't know if Teletoon is exclusively for Canada, but there was, back in the day, on Teletoon, there used to be some crazy shows.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that we used to watch. The Ripping Friends!
Yeah.
Like, just some weird shows.
Odd ones, yeah. No, we're going to do some deep dives onto the more intricate and odd shows of the 90s as well.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, we want to do a deep dive on Mega Babies. Like, looking back,
how did that even come to fruition?
I loved it as a kid, but, like, looking... What?
Yeah, no, like, it was insane.
And... The second one we want to do, Angela Anaconda, the animation in that is, like, something, like, I've never seen any other animation like that. It's like they took old school black and white photos and took people.
Yeah.
Like,
they did that actually with, another show on Teletoon. It was about a band of brothers. Shout out in the comments if you can name it, because it escapes me. The brothers who were in a meat shop. The Butchers? Sons of Butcher, there we go. Sons of Butcher. They did that. They took pictures of the real people and animated it into the cartoon. I did not care for the show too much, but
Angela Anaconda did that, and man, like, I watched that religiously as a kid. My name is Angela. Hey, hello.
Hey, careful. Copyright.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. No, all good. So that about wraps
we
it
also
up.
want to do a deep dive on Bill Nye as well.
Yo, yes.
We all grew up with Bill Nye the Science Guy, Bill. And, who doesn't want to get into some science?
Yeah.
And, so that about wraps it up for episode 7 of the Knick Knack 90's podcast. Hope you enjoyed our picks today.
Just want to shout out that if you liked any of these shows, we also do sell some NFTs and mintables on an app called Quid for real money and pretend money, mostly real money. If you're interested, here is our username.
And of course, we also buy and sell used toys.
Yeah.
For anybody out there, 90's.
Check out our video tomorrow on Monday Night Raw, and we'll see you tomorrow with that.
And if you want to leave a comment with your top 5 picks, go ahead, like and subscribe, and Vicky and I will be back.